Hello, everyone. Welcome to Week 14, the WNEP Sports Spotlight. I'm Sports Director Steve Lloyd. Once again, joining us, as always, Courtney Harrison on my right and Eve Hernandez on my left. We have 6 games left in the state quarterfinals. We're going to start in Single A, Lackawanna Trail, taking on Belmont Charter. That game is Friday night down at Northern Lehigh, a little trip down the turnpike for the Lions and Coach Jervis. And they hopefully can get a win and move on, but they've had nothing but success here after that early loss in the season down to Berwick.
Yeah, man, they looked fantastic coming off this last game against Line Mountain. But, the Tigers had a bye in the first week. They beat Morrisville and York Catholic to get to this point. They've only got one loss on the season, and their freshman quarterback, Nafis Watkins, is already setting school records, already doing great things. I think Trail's going to have a tough game, but they still can do it. They've got a lot of weapons. They've got Isaac Ryan to lean on. I think this will be a good matchup.
Yeah, and Isaac having an outstanding season behind that offensive line, and then his defense playing great, obviously giving the ball back to them so he can kind of do his damage, but setting a lot of district records and a lot of league records up there for Lackawanna Trail.
Yeah, definitely. This is the offense that's going to need. You're going to need Isaac Ryan in this offense to beat a Belmont Charter team. You talked about some of the numbers for that team, Courtney. 102 points all season they've given up on defense. That's an average of 10.2 points per game in the entire season. So Lackawanna Trail's offense is going to need to be firing on all cylinders if they're going to want to get ahead of this team. But they got the guys to do it. They got the offensive line to do it. They got the talent to do it. It's just a matter of doing it. It's going to be a tough one, but I like Trail's chances in this one, I think.
So good luck to Coach Jervis, his staff, the entire school district, and Lackawanna Trail in that state quarterfinal Single A game. We now move to 2A, Southern Columbia. The Tigers, a team notorious for doing well in the state playoffs. They pick up another win, this time the District 4 crown over Troy, and now they get Steelton High Spire. That game Friday night at 7 down at Selinsgrove High School, and Steelton High Spire, with the multiplier put on them, they've now bumped up from Single A to Double A, a Single A power in the state. Well-coached team, and Southern and the Tigers, Coach Roth, they will have their hands full.
Yeah, absolutely. But on paper, this is a pretty equal matchup. I think the numbers were Southern is averaging about 41 points a game, Steelton High Spire about 40 points a game. We know Steelton High Spire to be a powerhouse program, winning state championship year after year after year. But as you said, they've bumped up. They're facing a really good Southern team. I think this one will be a fun matchup.
Yeah, Courtney, years ago they had the Irby kid at quarterback, and he set multiple state records for touchdowns and passing. I'm sure Coach Roth and his coordinators will have a game plan against the Rollers of Steelton High Spire.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, Southern Columbia is a powerhouse team in themselves, too. It's going to be a good matchup, good on good. But like you said, Coach Roth is going to need a good game plan to stop these Rollers. They have a really high-powered offense. On defense, that's what Southern Columbia is going to need to really stand up and have the plan to be in place and do what they have to do to get off the field and get the ball back to their offense. The Tigers, a really impressive win over Troy last week, holding them to 0 points. I think they were up to the task on defense to do it.
So some home cooking there for Southern Columbia. They should have a packed house there, not too far of a drive from Catawissa down to Selinsgrove. We stay in 2A, and we go with Williams Valley taking on Lansdale Catholic. That game down on the turf at Lehighton, and Williams Valley coming off a close win over Schuylkill Haven to win the District 11 2A championship. Coach Ben Anchiff and the Vikings really rolling on, and now they face a very dangerous team in Lansdale Catholic and those 6 Division I kids on that football team.
Kudos to Williams Valley for getting to this point. They've got some tricks in their bag. They're going to need all of them for Lansdale Catholic. They've got their quarterback, Yaboa Cobbled. He is the real deal. He can throw the ball. He makes a lot of moves for the offense. And they've got so many other D1 commits. I think the Vikings are really going to need to dig deep into that bag of tricks and pull some stuff out.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough matchup for Coach Anchiff, but I'm sure looking at film and taking a look at Lansdale Catholic after they beat Lakeland, he will have a game plan ready to go on Friday night.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just looking at the highlights from this game last week, Cobalt is the real deal. He is a really impressive athlete. Just watching him, he jumps off on the film, definitely. He's got the arm, he's got the ability to pull it and run if he has to. But the offenses, I think, they kind of match up pretty well. Williams Valley has some speed on their side, too. Brady Schomper has played really well throughout the season. I think he's playing the best football he's played in his career up to this point right now. Some really big plays in the win over Schuylkill Haven last week. It's really, I think, going to be about limiting mistakes for Williams Valley and hoping the Crusaders make more than they do.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's a wrap on 2A. We now move to 3A, and Scranton Prep, the Cavaliers, they face a familiar foe in Northwestern Lehigh. That game Friday night at Berwick. And last year, Northwestern Lehigh went on to win the 3A state championship, and they knocked out a couple players from Prep in quarterback Lewis Paris and obviously Will McPartland, both of those kids going down with ACL injuries. And I know Lewis also had a MCL tear, but Will McPartland is back. He's healthy. They're on a roll right now. Obviously, Lewis Paris graduated, and so did a lot of the Northwestern Lehigh football players, but still a really good team, and that'll be a tough matchup, but kind of some home cooking for the Cavaliers. Very familiar place, and going down to Berwick and playing there at Crispin Field Friday night at 7.
Yeah, this game is literal deja vu from last year. They're playing again at Berwick. They're playing Northwestern Lehigh again. As you said, Northwestern Lehigh just laid it on injuries. But this year, Northwestern Lehigh's got their quarterback, the Shane Lay, if I'm saying his name right. He loves the quarterback keep. This team loves to do it. He loves to run it. He was injured a few weeks ago in the season, but they're back and looking full strength. But Prep does the same thing. Will McPartland loves that quarterback keep when he's got no other options. They're very similar looking offenses, so we'll see if Prep's defense can really step up as they did the last couple weeks.
Yeah, Coach Gallagher and his staff, they're going to probably look at film from last year and this season and maybe try to change some things up and come up with a better game plan, but obviously facing a really good team in Northwestern Lehigh.
Yeah, I remember being at this game last year, too, and watching Lewis Paris go out in the second quarter of that game. That game could have gone a lot differently if he didn't go out. I remember it was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, so no points were scored at all in the first quarter, and then after the injury, that kind of your quarterback gets taken out in the state playoffs. That kind of deflates a team after, they go into halftime. Northwestern Lehigh is able to come out and score 21 points and, Prep fighting from behind. That's a really hard game to win. But this time, completely different with Will McPartland in at quarterback. He's, gotten healthy throughout the rest of the season. But I think that game would have went a lot differently. It's still going to be a very tough game for Prep to win, but intrigued to see how this one turns out, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Now we move on to 4A. We have 2 teams left in 4A. We're going to start with Shamokin, the Indians. They face Southern Lehigh at Blue Mountain. That's Friday night at 7, and that is the WNEP Game of the Week. So we are certainly looking forward to covering that game. And Shamokin now 13-0 on the season, looking for one more win to go 14-0, but facing a challenge, an uphill challenge, I believe, in Southern Lehigh. Big offensive line. They have a commit that's going to Rutgers, and they have rolled through their schedule. I believe their lone loss is to Northwestern Lehigh.
Yeah, Southern Lehigh, man, they are a sharp, strong team. Their running back, Sean Steckert, he's a Swiss Army knife. Last week, he had 277 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 46 carries just in that game alone. But, Shamokin's defense has been really great up to this point. I think last year they were close. This year, they're much better than they were in this place. So I hope, for their sake, they give them a good run and they can pull this off because they have the players to do it.
Yeah, Courtney, I know we talked all season. Obviously, Shamokin winning that district title. They get into the state playoffs last year. A little taste of it. They lose to Juniata. They bow out pretty quick. Now they've rolled off a couple wins and certainly a juggernaut in Southern Lehigh ahead of them. And again, Coach Persing and his staff, they're going to look at film and they're going to have a game plan against Southern Lehigh.
No doubt about it. But Shamokin undefeated once again this season. I think you're right, Courtney. I think they look a lot better this time this year than they did this time last season. They got a taste of it. They kind of know what to expect when you get against some of these teams that you don't really see in the area. Southern Lehigh, really tough opponent. Like you said, the only loss that they have this season is to Northwestern Lehigh. They score a lot of points on offense, but also, like you said, Courtney, Shamokin's defense has been really good all season. They're prone to forcing turnovers, too, and I think they're going to need to force a couple of turnovers in this game, keep the ball out of Southern Lehigh's playmakers' hands, get it into the hands of Logan Seal, and I want to just run the clock, just control the clock on offense, and I think that is going to be a recipe for success for Shamokin.
All right, so in 4A, that is the WNEP Game of the Week. It's going to be Shamokin and Southern Lehigh. That game down at Blue Mountain Friday at 7. The final game, the 4A game, it's going to be North Pocono, another undefeated team at 13-0. They are taking on Cardinal O'Hara. That game is at Whitehall High School down there in Allentown, so a trip down the Pennsylvania Turnpike for the Trojans and taking on a very good team in Cardinal O'Hara and a chance to go into the state semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, North Pocono is really set up for success at this point in the season. They were able to get a big win last week. We'll talk about that later. But I think they're in a good place. They're going to have trouble, I think, maybe with Cardinal O'Hara's running back, Amaj Gowans. He led the league during the regular season in rushing yards and touchdowns. Defense is going to have to step up big. But I've seen North Pocono's defense before, and they find a way. It's like they get angry. I've seen Chase Zimmerman get angry when he's making a big play. The defense is really going to step up. North Pocono's got the offensive tools to do these things. We'll see, if how Cardinal O'Hara is able to handle them, though.
They've had a great season, a tough test for Coach Dolan and his staff also.
Yeah, definitely. And Cardinal O'Hara, they won the district championship for the first time in school history this year. So they want this game just as much as North Pocono does. Two, history-making seasons for both of these teams. They're both going to really want to get that win and get into the semifinals. And with North Pocono winning the way they did over Bishop Shanahan last week, the shootout, the back and forth, getting the win at the end, when you can win a game in that atmosphere at that way, that's got to give you a lot of confidence for what you can do for the rest of the season. I think that's going to take them kind of far.
All right, Courtney and Eve, thanks. That's a look at some of the upcoming games here in Week 14. When we come back here on the WNEP Sports Spotlight, we will recap Week 13 and some of the outstanding football games that we covered here on Newswatch 16. So stay with us here on the Sports Spotlight. We will be right back.
The Wilkes-Barre-Scranton International Airport, AVP, is your gateway to everywhere. Start here with safe, convenient, terminal-connected parking, quick check-in, and short lines at TSA. Fly on American, United, or Breeze Airways and connect to destinations throughout the USA. You can go nonstop to Chicago, Washington, D.C., Philly, or Charlotte. It's that easy. When you return, there's quick baggage claim and parking nearby. You're on your way faster at AVP.
All right, welcome back to the WNEP Sports Spotlight. We are now going to look at some of the games we covered in Week 13. We're going to start down in Catawissa, Southern Columbia, 42-zip win over Troy. Rematch of last year's some of the district playoff games that the Tigers and the Trojans played, and this time it was all Southern Columbia. They win the District 4 2A championship on their home field. A great win for Jim Roth, a great win for those football players, and they just piled it on and blanked Troy, and really the Trojans really didn't have an answer for Southern Columbia all night long.
Yeah, you almost feel for Troy. You wonder, what happened, what didn't go right, what didn't go in their favor, or is Southern Columbia just really that much better this year than they were? It's tough to say, but man, congratulations to Southern. They've really rebounded from last season.
Yeah, you look at obviously Southern's schedule, and year to year those schedules change, and they're usually done out 3 or 4 years, I think, in advance. But playing while missing the beginning of the season, Coach Roth really got a general idea of the weaknesses that his team had, and I think from there they just kind of fixed everything, played a pretty competitive schedule, and really kind of took care of business there on their home field.
Yeah, this is one of the scores that really surprised me when I heard about it when I was at my game. At the end of the night, though, I was just kept hearing the score to this game, and I was like, wow, Southern Columbia is really taking it on to Troy right now. Really impressive to hold them to no points at all. It was a close game in the first quarter. No one had scored any points, and then Southern Columbia kind of rips it off in the second quarter. 21 points unanswered, and when you go down 21 points in a game, it's kind of hard for you to feel like you're going to be able to catch up in that game. So I don't know what really is going on with Troy in that one, but like you said, Courtney, Southern really just that much better at this point this season than they were. It's really impressive what they've been able to do this season. Coach Roth always has a good game plan going in. He knows and how to handle all of these moments, all the pressure, all the time. So he's got the guys playing exactly how they need to right now at this point of the season.
So a nice two-year run there for Coach Smith and Troy. Congratulations to them, and let's hear from the Tigers on their victorious win to win the District 4 2A title.
All week we're preparing, getting ready to play a physical game up front, because in the end that's where the game's won and lost up front. We just had the right mentality to come out here and win. And
running the ball, definitely. I mean, it's what Southern Columbia does. We had a great game plan coming into this. We had a couple new plays that we knew would work.
we knew what they were going to do. We executed it perfectly. We did a great job.
I have the utmost respect for that team. For them to come all the way down here, we knew it was going to be a good game. They do everything right. They're a great team. They deserve everything they get, and that's why we prepare the way we do, because we know that we're coming in for a dogfight, and that's what happens.
All right, congratulations to Southern Columbia as they roll on in the state playoffs. Up next, Williams Valley. What a shootout. 34-31 win over Schuylkill Haven, and they win the District 11 2A championship. Ben Anchiff coming in to take over for Steve Sedesi in the middle of the season, goes from assistant coach, athletic director, to kind of head coach, and crazy story not only for us here in all of northeastern and central Pennsylvania down there in the Schuylkill League, but across the state. That's really kind of unheard of when a coach leaves in the middle of the season and the team goes on to have success and win a district title.
Yeah, incredible. And this game was just as exciting. We talk about one-sided games. Haven jumped out front. They came into the game, they meant business, going down the field, 4 plays and scoring, converting turnovers into points. Sometimes you said it's hard to play down. Williams Valley said, not us. Congratulations to them. I know Coach Anchef had a very, very cold ice bath at the end of this one. But, well-deserved win for Williams Valley.
Yeah, and I know down at the Eagles Nest Blue Mountain, they are always spectacular as a host, and that field is great to play on, and certainly the athletes showed up and showed the fans some great football there in the Schuylkill League.
Yeah, definitely. Williams Valley, a resilient team for sure, coming back from, all of the drama that's been this season for them and being able to push to a 3rd straight district championship despite everything that's happened. Still having Anchef there with the program, but leading them to the championship this time instead of Steven Sedesi. But like you said, I think the team has been playing really well. Brady Schomburg specifically playing probably the best, like I said earlier, the best that he's played in his career so far. He was someone that was on our dream team last year, makes a lot of plays for this team. He had a 42-yard touchdown to Colin Criswell to give the Vikings lead in this game, and then the game-stealing interception on defense also to win this game. So congratulations to Williams Valley for getting it done over Haven. We thought Haven was going to go far. We thought that they had a chance to win a state championship this year, but Williams Valley, they wanted to get it done. That's a really good 2A bracket, too. So it's going to be, we'll see how far they get.
3 years in a row they've won this district championship and lost the regular season game. So way to go. Way to go.
So probably the worst time of the season for a team to suffer a loss. And like Eve and Courtney said, Coach Farr, they had a great season, but they lose here in Week 13. But we caught up with, obviously, Coach Anchef and those victorious Vikings. Here they are post-game.
Every year is different. And, this year, the ups and downs, but we really banded together like they did in this game here. Down 24-7. Pulled it together there, made a nice comeback there, and then defense was shut down in the second half. So it was very very pleasant in the second half on defense. I was really proud of the kids. I mean, what a game. I'll highlight a different play. So you got Trayvon Bear in the flats on a 4th and 13. I mean, he gets popped by number 9 there, and he holds on to the ball and gets a first down, and that was the play of the night there for us. I mean, season on the line.
That was a play. I missed him a couple times, and we knew that he was going to be open that time, so we kind of went back to it, hoping he was open, and he was. And I hit him there for that first down, and that really set us up to keep driving down the field to go score.
Well, great season there for Schuylkill Haven, and once again, congratulations to the Williams Valley Vikings. They roll on in the state playoffs. Our next game up, Scranton Prep, another shootout. This one, 28-21 over Mifflinburg. Eve was at that game, and you took that all in. And obviously having a front row seat and being on the sidelines, you kind of saw some spectacular plays and great effort by the Cavaliers to pull out that win.
Definitely. Great effort by everyone involved. So for the beginning of the game was much different than how it kind of played out at the end of the game. The first couple of plays on offense for the Wildcats were 1-play touchdown for the Wildcats. Their second drive, 1-play touchdown. They were quickly up 14-0 on Scranton Prep. And when I talked to Coach Gallagher after the game, he was like, they caught us off of some out of spot. They caught us out of position. In the second half, we made some adjustments that we needed to make, and they played really well defensively afterwards. 21 points for the Wildcats to start the game, but none in the second half. Scranton Prep also really good at controlling the game with their run game. Braden McPartland, Will McPartland were both running the ball like crazy, and they were doing what they needed to do. Got in the first down, so they needed to get first down. touchdowns, and then they were able to have a really nice drive in the fourth quarter to kind of run out the clock and make sure Mifflinburg didn't have a chance to touch it again. But that was a great win for Prep. Really impressive all around, especially on defense. But I spoke with the winning, also I got to mention Ricky Dewey, of course, made a big play at the end. Of course, Ricky Dewey with a turnover, scoop and score touchdown. He was, he was super excited to get this one. But I spoke with a very happy Ricky Dewey and the Scranton Prep Cavaliers after the game. The Scranton Prep Cavaliers finding a way to overcome adversity in the first half. They come back from behind to defeat Mifflinburg 28-21 to move on to the AAA quarterfinals. One of the plays of the night coming from Ricky Dewey with the scoop and score on quarterback Chad Martin might have been one of the differences in this game.
They kind of just put me in for a dime, and Eli goes up, strips the quarterback, and I just take it all the way. It feels great. You know, we got good coaches, everything. We need to have a good next week of practice, and we're going to win it all. We're going to win it all.
Kids executed a much better job in the second half. Thought they caught us on our heels in the first half. But we have pretty good kids. It starts with 12, and it trickled down to the rest of it. I still have to execute a little bit better, clean some stuff up, but it's a great win. Obviously, Elijah Myers makes a big play there to get us back to 14. Ricky Dewey picks it up, runs it in for a touchdown. It's a huge difference in the game.
All right, Eve, thanks for that report. And once again, congratulations to Mifflinburg. Outstanding season for them, but their season, the Wildcat season, comes to an end, and Scranton Prep, they move on. Let's go on to the next game, Hollidaysburg. They pile up 56 points. They beat Delaware Valley 56-42. The Warriors held on for 3/4 of the game and then just kind of ran out of gas against an outstanding Hollidaysburg football team. And for Coach Olsemer, getting to the state playoffs, once again, kudos to him and his football team. They play a packed schedule. Obviously, it's tough being in 5A, let alone 6A. They've dropped down. They've had a little bit more success, but 5A, 6A in the state is brutal.
I think whether it was Delaware Valley or Abington Heights in this game, they were going to have a really tough task against Hollidaysburg. We've been talking about them all season being the powerhouse, the team to beat, in my opinion, in 5A. So, I mean, great season. Micah Uzzolino, had some great scores in that game. But yeah, tough loss this time of the year for Del Val.
And then on to the next game on North Pocono. They pick up a 40-36 win over Bishop Shanahan. Cole West, he just willed his way to the win. And the first time in school history, the Trojans improved to 13-0. And all three of us, we've seen North Pocono play all season long. They can mix and match with their offense. They're physical on defense. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball. They've just had an outstanding season. And they have a tough one coming up against Cardinal O'Hare. We've talked about Coach Dolan and his staff, and they've done nothing but win.
Yeah, this was one of those games we couldn't get to this past week just because of where it was, down in Philadelphia. But I was able to see some people were posting videos and stuff from the game following along, and the whole community is behind that team. I think post-game, Coach Dolan was giving a speech. It wasn't just the players and the other coaches. It was so many other people. And the joy coming out of them at this moment, I hope for them it propels them into this next game. They're going on the road again, a long bus ride. They were able to squeak it out once. Let's see if they can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, definitely. Another long bus ride for them, like you said, but what a great win for this team, for this program. Like you said, we've been talking about them all season long. They have had just an incredible season. They do everything right. Like you said, Steve, they're very physical on defense. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. They do absolutely everything right. And the individual effort, like you said, from Cole West in this game to get in the end zone with 40 seconds left in this game, to go ahead to get the game-winning touchdown. The individual effort from each of these kids, like we say, that when we play, we can see it. It's very clear to see on defense. They all run to the ball. They're all hat on the hat. It's all very hard, very physical. They want to win so bad. What a time for this program right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's never really one player with North Pocono. On to the next game, Shamokin and the Indians, 42-13 win over Bellefonte. The Indians also join North Pocono now, two teams, both 13-0.
Yeah, I think we pretty much figured Shamokin to take this one. Bellefonte was probably the best opponent for them in this first round. But again, we can talk all day about Logan Steele and Zakem Clinton doing the work, putting it in to get this team. And the defense as well, only holding Bellefonte to 13 points. Pretty solid win. Let's keep it rolling.
On to the next game, some of the Saturday games that we covered, and Courtney had those on Newswatch 16 Sports all weekend long. Trail, 31-20 over Line Mountain, previously undefeated football team. Isaac Ryan, we've talked about him endlessly all season long, a big game. And then Tyler Jervis, that big interception early, kind of back and forth, and then Trail in the end just kind of overpowered Line Mountain and went to Ryan and got the win.
Yeah, I think that interception really kind of helped boost Trail forward. We knew that Isaac Ryan was going to, put up a lot of yards, get some points. But I think that really helped the defense be like, okay, we can do this, because we know how big Line Mountain is and the size that they bring and the power that they bring to their team. Great game, close game. Trail was the one that had more of it in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. And a great season for Line Mountain, too, again this year. Overcoming adversity again with Maxime Johnson going out for most of the season. They didn't have their star two-way player for most of the season, but still being able to overcome that and get to this point. A good season for Line Mountain, but Lackawanna Trail, just a really, really good team, a really hard team to beat. And Single A, I'm not sure, who's going to beat them. We've seen them play multiple times this season. They also are a team that does pretty much everything right, and they played in a lot of these big games, too. They are up to the task and the pressure that comes with the state playoffs.
Here's Coach Jervis post-game after the big win for the Lions.
Line Mountain, very well coached, great athletes over there on that side of the field. That's a very good football team, and they did a lot to try to take away Isaac. But Isaac's one of those kids, you can only kind of contain him for so long. He's just a really good all-around football player, offense, defense, special teams-wise. He's just got that explosiveness to him. Definitely did a good job playing complementary football, and that is so critical this time of the year. We got to really do a good job again, in all three phases: run the ball on offense, stopping the run and limit the explosives on defense, and then special teams in the kicking game. We need to be sound, and I thought we did a pretty good job of that today.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. And once again, congratulations. Good luck moving forward into the state quarterfinals. Lansdale Catholic, team we've talked about previously, they knocked off Lakeland 43-7. Just too much talent there for Lansdale Catholic. That game was last Saturday. Courtney, you had a little bit of that on Saturday in the highlights.
Yeah, Lakeland they couldn't finish it. They would drive, move the ball down the field. They just couldn't capitalize at the very end. They had a really nice turnover for forcing a fumble. I thought that maybe would give them a little bit of boost, but they were shut out right until the end when they were able to get at least one score in there. But like you said, Lansdale Catholic just has a lot of great talent. Tough loss, but great season for the Chiefs.
And then in 6A, State College 52-0 over Wilkes-Barre. Coach Cynthia and the Wolfpack, they wrap up their outstanding season. A tough one for them on the road, losing to State College, and that kind of ends their season. Now on to the WNEP Sports Spotlight Play of the Week. And it goes back to the Williams Valley game, 34-31 win over Schuylkill Haven. And we're going to give it to Brady Schomper, the Vikings quarterback. Nice 42-yard TD pass to Colin Criswell. And that put the Vikings up for good, and they went on to win it. We've had some outstanding plays. Mm-hmm. That was just a nice ball, dropped it in there.
Perfectly.
Perfect spiral, and shot very well by our photographer, I believe, Mike Cholko was
yep.
down there.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of plays from that game we could have picked. I think if you combined all of the highlights from it, it would have been the play of the week. But it was the game of the week for a reason. Man, great stuff. It's so much fun to see Brady Schomper. That was my first time seeing both of those teams in person. Oh. And, you watch it on the highlights and you're like, oh, okay. But when you're there, it's like, man, it's awesome. It's great. You get the whole visual of the whole team on the field.
Yeah, Brady's certainly a special player, and a nice play there for him to pick up the win and get the WNEP Play of the Week.
Yeah, definitely. Only improving as time has gone on. We've seen him, improve over the last couple of seasons now. But a perfect ball, like you mentioned, great spiral, and what that play meant too for that game, getting the winning touchdown over Schuylkill Haven, and that was a big touchdown, big win, great play for Brady Schomper.
All right, so we got the WNEP Game of the Week and the Play of the Week out of the way. When we come back, we're going to talk a little local college football. We're going to talk about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, their big win over Pitt, and we're going to get into Penn State and Terry Smith, the interim head coach there, picking up his first win with the Nittany Lions when we come back here on Sports Spotlight. All right, welcome back to the WNAP Sports Spotlight. We would like to congratulate a couple boys soccer teams winning state titles. Abington Heights in 3A, the first state championship in school history in boys soccer. Lewisburg, they pick up the 2A title. That's now 5 for the Green Dragons. And then Eve was down at some of the volleyball. Tri-Valley, the Lady Bulldogs, they finish as state runner-up. So that kind of wraps up some of the other fall sports besides tennis and golf. With field hockey, girls soccer, we've kind of covered it all. So congratulations to those 3 schools, 2 state championships and 1 state runner-up. Not too bad.
Pretty awesome. Congratulations to that team. And a fun fact, I had talked to the players when they came back. They had a whole celebration through town. They kept their team scoreless, or their opponents scoreless throughout the postseason. Great run.
Wow.
Great run.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I got to see Lewisburg play a couple of times this season, too. Super impressive to watch them. Victor Permiashkin is an absolutely incredible player to watch. And then being down at Tri-Valley, or being down in Mechanicsburg to watch Tri-Valley, man, the Bulldogs, Tri-Valley, you guys all showed up super, super proud, super loud to support Tri-Valley. They were close. They got 1 set in, but weren't able to get it done against a really good Maplewood team. But congratulations to making it that far. Congratulations to all of our state champions and state runner-up also.
Yeah, so we kind of spread that out. We have volleyball from District 11, soccer from District 4, and soccer from District 2. So kind of the whole area. Congratulations to those schools. Let's get into Penn State. 28-10 win over Michigan State. Their losing streak in the Big Ten is now snapped. Next up is Nebraska in prime time. That game is going to be Saturday night on NBC at 7 p.m. So they're going to go from senior day to senior night. Mm-hmm. And people just constantly question the schedules, but it just goes back to obviously signing the television contract with those 3 different networks. There's right of first refusals, and they just don't know from week to week. They've announced the Rutgers time now, but they're always looking for the best matchups. So they could play at noon. They could play at 3:30. Mm-hmm. They could play at night. I know Coach Franklin, before he got fired, really wanted to stay away from those Friday night games.
Right.
That would certainly affect us here at Newswatch 16 if Penn State played on a Friday. It would also affect a lot of the high school football games. I believe they would probably move most of those games out in District 4 just to avoid the traffic to Thursday night. So it not only affects all the Penn State fans and across the country, but it really affects everybody trying to get out to some high school football games. So congratulations to interim head coach Terry Smith and Penn State. You know, pretty kind of beats up on a really struggling Michigan State team right now, the Spartans.
I think this is the first time we've really seen Ethan Grunkemeyer be able to use his arm and look confident doing it. The 75-yard pass to Devontae Ross, incredible. You felt the electricity through the television of how big that play was and how big that score was. And I really think it boosted their confidence to know that he is their guy, and they're going to have to rely on him to be able to make those plays. And I think I saw somewhere that might be the longest touchdown pass of the season for the Nittany Lions. So impressive.
Yeah, we still go back. I know we talked earlier, losing the whiteout game at night, which was late. And then they had to hop on a plane and fly to L.A., and they lose to UCLA, and then they come back. Maybe they're just kind of getting used to the travel now, going to East Lansing. And they played a little bit better, and that game, goes to Penn State. And that was a 3:30 kick, not a noon kick. So a little bit later there for them to kind of adjust and then get ready to play some football.
Yeah, Michigan State definitely a team that you'd expect Penn State to win against, and they did so handedly in this game. The travel, not going to affect you too much, just going to East Lansing. That's not too far. That's typical. Going out to, California and whatnot, that's definitely going to affect you. But just going out to Michigan is not going to, didn't really slow down the team at all. And like you said, Courtney, I think Grunkemeyer looked as comfortable as he has all season, definitely. They were able to push the ball downfield, which is great. Obviously, Nick Singleton, had a really great game in this one, Katrin Allen, Katrin Allen, 181 yards rushing in this game. The run game definitely helping Penn State control the clock in this one, too. And then, of course, struggling Spartans team with their quarterback being out in this one. That made the defense definitely look a lot better and do their job very well in this game.
All right, so let's hear from Coach Smith post-game. And he picked up his first win as the interim head coach for Penn State. Here's Coach Smith.
Yeah, it's always a special moment when people celebrate you that way. It's very humbling. I love those guys to death. I would do anything for them. They play so hard for us. I'm just super happy for our kids. I'm super happy for our program. I'm super happy for our fans and our following. We deserve this game. we now know again what it feels like to win, and we just got to build on this with momentum.
All right, so congratulations to Penn State and obviously Coach Smith there on Saturday, and then on Monday a very emotional, brought him to tears talking about his family and just his experiences, there throughout his whole life and what it's meant to him to, I'll be sitting in the chair where Joe Paterno sat and obviously Coach Franklin. And as we switch gears and we talk about James Franklin, he is once again employed. On Monday, Virginia Tech announced that James Franklin would become their next head football coach. The buyout only cost Penn State $9 million, so Va-Tech's going to pick up the other $40 million. He's going to have a press conference on Wednesday, so 5 weeks is not long to be unemployed in college football, and just crazy times, getting fired from Penn State and then ended up as the next head coach at Va-Tech.
Yeah, this was something I don't think anyone was really kind of expecting to happen mid-season, or not mid-season, but at least during the regular season. You kind of wonder, what does this mean? I feel like this leaves so many question marks for not only Virginia Tech, but Penn State as well. What's going to happen? Who's going to make moves? Are the moves going to happen now? Are they going to happen at the end of the season? There's a lot going on. It's almost like being traded in the middle of the season for like NFL players.
Yeah, and that transfer portal window has been adjusted. It starts January 2nd. It ends January 24th. So there's 5 days after the national championship game for any players involved in that game to then hop into the portal. I would imagine, I don't know what Penn State's going to do, but I would imagine Franklin still has a lot of connections with a lot of former Penn State Nittany Lion football players, and it's not that long of a trip to head down to Blacksburg and enroll and play for the Hokies.
Yeah, no, definitely. James Franklin getting, probably definitely a hot commodity in the coaching cycle higher this season after he was let go so early. But Virginia Tech getting him so early before the portal time opens, obviously a good move by them because they want James Franklin, their recruiter, to have all the portal guys coming into them at the right time. For Penn State, you would like them to do the same thing. You'd want them to hire a coach before the transfer portal window opens so that they can try to get some more recruits, try to get some guys from the portal coming in. You need a coach to sell, fans and players onto, though. Who is that coach going to be? Virginia Tech was able to get a coach, like you said, in the middle of the season, this November, almost the end of the season, but we're still in the middle, of the season right now. Can Penn State get a coach in the middle of the season right now? I mean, we don't really know who they're looking at, what's going on with that, but it's kind of, I think the sooner the better for them.
Yeah, so Penn State Athletic Director Pat Kraft was the AD when Matt Rule was the coach at Temple. So those two have a connection. Matt Rule is coming in with Nebraska Saturday night to face the Nittany Lions. I know Matt Rule just got an extension from Nebraska and probably sent a thank you card to Pat Kraft. So obviously firing Franklin really set the roller coaster in motion for extensions on a lot of these other coaches, and there's also been a lot of firings, many more than I've ever seen in any single one season, in the middle of the season, firing these coaches.
Yeah, and you also have to wonder, those 26 or 27 commits that decommitted from Penn State, what's going to happen to them? Are they going to decide to stick around? Are they going to follow James Franklin to Virginia Tech? Are they going to go somewhere else? There's so many questions, and it makes your head spin, like trying to figure out who's the coach, who's not the coach, who's in, who's out, who's available. And then you got all these players in the middle of it. There's a lot of balls up in the air right now.
Well, we go from the inconsistent to the consistent. And number 9, Notre Dame, they pick up another win, this time out at Acrisure Stadium, home to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They win it 37-15 over Pitt, and head coach Pat Narduzzi, who had quite a few comments leading up to the game, saying the game wasn't really that important because Notre Dame's not in the conference, and that Pitt was really looking towards a conference game. And then post-game still, Coach Narduzzi with some interesting comments. So Notre Dame still on the hunt for the college football playoffs, and a big win for Coach Freeman going into, I guess it was a home crowd for Pitt, but it seemed like there was a lot of Notre Dame fans there supporting the Irish.
Yeah, 8 straight wins now for Notre Dame. Great win over Pitt, too. Young quarterback that the defense was kind of able to, jump on, and they knew where to be, and they knew where he was going to throw to. The pick 6 by Tate Johnson pretty early in this game, I think, gave Notre Dame pretty much all the momentum that they needed in this game. I think they're answering a lot of questions after dropping their first 2 games at the beginning of the season. They've come together a lot more since then. Jeremiah Love has been playing great. Carr has been playing great as as the season has gone on. I think Oklahoma beating Alabama kind of hurts Notre Dame's playoff, chances a little bit in that game, but as long as they don't drop any more games, I don't think there's a reason they wouldn't be in.
Yeah, I think you mentioned those comments before and after. I think Notre Dame took this game personally. The play was aggressive, and I mean, no surprise here. Like when you make those kind of comments, you're just setting yourself up to be, played against. And Jeremiah Love, as you said, CJ Carr, just killing it right now. We'll see if they can keep that going.
Now on to the local college scene, and we're going to rattle off some of these games. The first game is Washington and Lee. They're going to be out in Williamsport at Lycoming College. It's the Cape Charles Bowl. Kickoff is at noon. In the Mac Centennial Bowl, Misericordia goes on the road to take on Carnegie Mellon. Kick at noon. Division II NCAA's first round, Bentley at Kutztown. That game at noon. And the Golden Bears are number 3 in the country. And Courtney Harrison and myself, we have alumni, a little investment into that game.
Yeah,
so good luck to the Golden Bears and Kutztown. D3 NCAA's first round, Washington and Jefferson College, not to get confused with Washington and Lee. So Washington and Jefferson, they're at Susquehanna. That kick is at noon. That game is down in Selinsgrove. So there's a high school football game there on Friday night at the high school. And then right down the road, is Susquehanna playing in the first round of NCAA's. And then Wilkes, the Colonels, they're on the road at Shenandoah at 4. Chesapeake Challenge Bowl Series, that's the name of that one. So we got 5 games local, if you want to include Kutztown into local football. Let's just kind of hone in on Susquehanna, the Riverhawks, and the success, and looking forward to making a run in NCAA's in D3 because they made a run last year.
Yeah, man, coming off a great season last year. They had a couple tough losses to ranked teams this year, including John Hopkins, who is also in this tournament. But, good on the Riverhawks to get back in there, continue to make this run. Coach Perk has really done a great job with this team to get them to this point of the season. We'll see if they can make a run again this year.
Should be a great weekend down there in Selinsgrove. Good luck to the Riverhawks.
Definitely good luck to the Riverhawks. They've grown through their landmark conference opponents this season. Just the 2 losses to the ranked teams, which if they do win this game against Washington and Jefferson, Christopher and Newport has the bye week. That's one of the teams that they lost to at the beginning of the season. That's who they would play in the next round should they get there. But you got to get there first. But kudos to them from getting this far. This is a team that lost a lot of players at the beginning of the season. I remember talking to them in the preseason, and they had a lot of turnover from last year. But they've been, not playing like it. They've been playing really well again this season.
All right, and some items to get to. Our Super 16 Dream Team Showcase is coming back once again in January of 2026. We're super excited about that. I know the forms went out, so fill them in, get them back in. We've already received, I believe, 10 of them via email. I'm not sure how else they respond here, but it's going to be our overall player of the year once again, our offensive and defensive players of the year. We're also going to have a scholar athlete once again, coach of the year, and our #1 football team. And that rolls into the final Super 16 countdown. We've said it before, but we will remind you here once again. That will be Monday night, December 8th at 6 p.m. And some of the teams like Prep, who have gotten healthy, were in the initial countdown, fell out and got back in, but they've rolled off wins over Wyoming area, Berwick, and now Mifflinburg. So the final Super 16 countdown will be Monday night, December 8th at 6, and that's after the state championship games, which take place the prior Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Right now, I don't believe we have any games on Saturday. We could have some games on Thursday and Friday because we no longer have 5A and 6A.
It's hard to believe we're already here. December's right around the corner, so are the state championship games. But congratulations to all of our teams are throughout the season. But the 6 teams still hanging in, still playing for a chance at that win.
Yeah. So the dream team is going to be 32 players, and listed in the 32 is the overall player of the year. So that's 1. Offensive and defensive players of the year. That's 3, and then the scholar athlete. So 4, and then plus to get to 32. So get those forms in, and we kind of go from there and calculate who's in, who's out. So those forms got to be handed in for your players to be on the Dreams team. So always looking forward to that. All right, well, when we come back, we will have some guesses of some college and NFL games coming up this weekend, and we will also roll through our picks here on the Sports Spotlight. Stay with us. Please come right back. All right, welcome back to the WNP Sports Spotlight. Here's the games we are going to pick from. We've already talked about them. It's going to be in Single A, Trail versus Belmont Charter. 2A, Southern versus Steelton High Spire. If you're at home, write these down. Williams Valley, Lansdale Catholic. Prep taking on Northwestern Lehigh. Shamokin versus Southern Lehigh. And North Pocono taking on Cardinal O'Hara. These are all without spreads. I went into the week 52-20, went 5-1. I'm now 57-21. I am picking Lackawanna Trail over Charter, Southern Columbia over Steelton High Spire. I like Lansdale Catholic over Williams Valley, Northwestern Lehigh to knock off Prep, Shamokin to beat Southern Lehigh, and Cardinal O'Hara over North Pocono. Here's Courtney with her records and her picks.
Well, Steve, you and I are still tied.
Tied, yes.
52-20. I went 5-1. I'm also 57-21. I'm also taking Trail over Belmont Charter. Southern Columbia, I've got Lansdale Catholic. I'm also choosing Northwestern Lehigh. I also have Shamokin, but to be slightly different, I took North Pocono.
Good luck to the Trojans. Here's Eve with her record and her picks.
All right, I went 58-14 overall. Went 4-2 last week, and now I'm 62-16 overall. I am picking Lackawanna Trail. I'm also picking Southern Columbia. I like Williams Valley. I'm going to choose Williams Valley over Lansdale Catholic. I'm going to go with Northwestern Lehigh over Scranton Prep. Shamokin, and then I'm going to also go with North Pocono to win, too. I like the Trojans in this matchup.
All right, so there is our 6 picks, and now we're going to get into we're going to guess some scores of the games. I like Penn State 23-20 over Nebraska. I like the Eagles in a close one, 17-14 over the Cowboys. The Bears to win it 26-16 over the Steelers. We're not sure if Aaron Rodgers is set to play. He's dealing with a slight bone break in his left wrist. I like the Lions over the Giants 32-24, and the Ravens to beat the Jets, the reeling Jets, 31-14.
I also think it'll be another close one between Penn State and Nebraska. I've got Penn State winning 24-20. I'm picking the Eagles over the Cowboys 34-14. They're either going to win it or they're going to lose it. One or the other. Might be the reverse score, but I'm going to still pick with the Eagles. I've got the Steelers slightly over the Bears. I think we'll see. That could also change, without Aaron Rodgers, maybe 21-17. I've got the Lions over the Jets 28-10 and the Lions over the Giants 28-10 and the Ravens over the Jets 28-3.
Here is Eve's guesses for some of the college, Penn State, and then the NFL.
All right, for Penn State, Nebraska, I also have a close one, but I think the Nittany Lions can pull this one off. 28-24 is my prediction. I like the Eagles over the Cowboys, 31-24. I like the Steelers over the Bears, 17-14. I did pick this before I learned about the Aaron Rodgers news. We don't know if he's going to play, but I'm just going to stick with my pick. I think 17-14, a defensive battle. That's what I picked for this game. Lions, I'm going to go with Lions, 30-21 over the Giants, and then I like the Ravens to beat the Jets, 34-17.
All right, final thoughts. I guess I'm going to ask both of you a headline for Monday, and the topic would be like high school football. What do you think the big headline is going to be on Monday?
This coming up Monday?
For high school football, yeah.
Man, I sure hope we're talking about North Pocono. If you're reading the headlines here in the Scranton area, if you're reading them out in District 4. I hope to see Shamokin there. There's a lot of teams I have a lot of hope for. We want these teams to go to the state championships. We want to see them playing in December at Cumberland Valley. So we'll have a lot of hope.
Eve, your high school football headline on Monday. What's it going to be? You think?
My high school football headline is Trojans stun Cardinal O'Hara and win in double overtime. That's my headline. I don't know, something like that. I want, of course, the Trojans to win too. That was what I was going to say. That's a headline that I would like to see. The Trojans getting it done, continue their historic season that they've had so far. They've been playing really good, and we really hope to, cover any of our teams in the state championship. That's what we want. So we want you guys to go very far.
Especially those undefeated ones.
Exactly.
Yeah. So sticking with the high school football theme, I think the headline could be Roth and the Tigers kind of roll again and roll into the state semis. From a college perspective, it could be Penn State and any number of things, whether it's giving Coach Smith the head coaching job or who knows what Pat Kraft is going to do, but that could be the Monday headline. We just had a James Franklin Monday headline.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. That's very true. And there's nothing like a whiteout in Penn State at night. If you haven't experienced it, it's a pretty cool place to be. So we'll see if they can put on a show out there in State College.
All right, well, for Courtney Harrison, Eve Hernandez, I'm Steve Lloyd. Thanks for joining us once again here on the WNEP Sports Spotlight. We do appreciate your time and joining us each and every week. We will be back here next week. It's the Thanksgiving edition of the Sports Spotlight. We're working on the fixins here in front of the Newswatch 16 Sports football helmets. So once again, that's the Sports Spotlight. Have a great night.